What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing, some advice that Brandon Roy has given to the injured at the moment, currently Lonzo Ball. Now, at the end of the day, both these two have been put in the same category in many ways throughout the course of their career because of the nagging knee injuries that they have sustained. Now, obviously, Lonzo's, knee injury could potentially be career-threatening. Unfortunately, I wasn't really, aware of Brandon Roy's big injuries at the time. Again, around 2009ish, I wasn't really watching the NBA. Of course, knowing a little bit about it now, it makes more sense. The advice that he's planning to give to Lonzo Ball, that he has given to Lonzo Ball. But altogether, we will just discuss some of these things and whether or not, again, it's something we have to be concerned about in the future. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe Lonzo Ball can come back at even close to the same level as he was when he left the Chicago Bulls team. Now, I must say, again, Lonzo Ball is in an unprecedented situation, I think, for the NBA, let alone just the Chicago Bulls. I think the surgery that he's had, I think the only other person that had that type of surgery could not play. He ended up retiring from his sport. And Lonzo Ball is going to be a guy that is going to try to come in and be one of the first guys ever to get that cartilage surgery, a successful one at that, and then return to the Chicago Bulls and play some games. It could just be for the NBA. We don't actually know for sure if it would be with the Chicago Bulls team. But all in all, he's got a big task ahead of him. And Brandon Roy, being someone that has been in the NBA for a long time, someone that has had to deal with a lot of injuries in the past, he has given some advice for Lonzo Ball, and I feel like it's important to talk about. So let's get started with the first piece of advice that Brandon Roy gave to Lonzo Ball, and that is to be realistic. Essentially saying that there are going to be, moments where you might not return to the same level as you once were, and you need to, adapt your game in certain ways to be prevalent in the NBA again. You might not be at that all-star level, point guard caliber that you probably would want to get to at the end of the day. And I'll be honest, I think he's spot on here. Again, I think people are just assuming that Lonzo Ball will come back at the highest level possible. When in reality, we have seen what knee injuries that's been, for multiple guys. We've seen what knee injuries can do to their career. Again, list of some of the guys in the NBA. Jonathan Isaac has not had a sustainable run of games with the Orlando Magic since his knee injury. It took him out for multiple seasons. He came back this season, and I think he ended up getting hurt again, if I'm not mistaken. So, you got to be mindful of those things. TJ Warren was a guy that was averaging 20 points per game on the Indiana Pacers and was one of the heroes in the bubble. Obviously, he gets his knee injury, and now he's not really, he's kind of a role player at this point. Many people don't trust him anymore, and he's been out for multiple seasons as well. So to assume that Lonzo Ball is going to come back and just be at the highest level possible, it's something that people need to realize really quickly, that this might not end up being the case. I think that is the best case scenario, to see Lonzo come back as good as he was before, but it's not ideal, and it's most likely not going to happen. I wouldn't say definitely not going to happen, but something that I do think will make Lonzo Ball probably stand out a little bit from the rest is that I think some areas of his game I don't think will be massively impacted. The thing about Lonzo Ball that makes him so special, in my opinion, is that he's a high IQ player and he likes to use the transition game in his passing. Things like that I don't think are going to change when he comes back to the Chicago Bulls team. He's still going to be a guy that's going to be looking for the outlet passes. He's still going to be a guy that can run in transit, that can, use the transition game a little bit more. Maybe he's not going to be a guy that, I think the biggest weaknesses that we'll find with Lonzo Ball is probably in his defense. He probably won't be an all-NBA level defender anymore when he comes into the NBA. He might not have the lateral quickness. He might not have the ability to guard everybody's best player for the majority of the night. Maybe he'll have some minutes restrictions for the rest of his career. Things like that we've got to be aware of. But in terms of his three-point shooting, I'm hoping that doesn't take a massive hit, because I don't necessarily think You know, Lonzo is a catch and shoot player in many ways. You know, he shoots those 3-point shots with high efficiency. He's not a guy that's using his athleticism to go and dunk and, I guess, posterize people every single game. You know, he's very, very selective in how he can use his athleticism, being a taller guard. So, you know, in terms of his offensive game, I'm hoping there's not that much taken away from it. But defensively, I think we can all expect he might not be the same level defender ever again. And that is something we got to be mindful of. But I think Brandon Roy's spot on. Again, he has experience in these things. He understands what it is. And to expect Lonzo Ball to be back at the highest level straight away is not ideal. And it may never ever get to that point. So that's the first thing that Bulls fans can take away, Lonzo can take away, and something Brandon Roy did end up mentioning. Let's move into the second one, and that is to be patient. Brandon Roy suggested that there are some nights he's going to feel 110%, some nights he's only going to feel 80%, sometimes he's going to only feel 60%, and that's okay. It's about being selective and, once again, just identifying those moments and trying to do the best for him, I guess, in many ways. Again, I'll put the exact quote on the screen. Maybe I'm completely off in that regard, but again, this is something else, and this is why I have to give a lot of responsibility on the Bulls management and coaching as well, because they need to be aware of these things. It's one thing for Lonzo to be aware of these things. Lonzo might be very prideful inside, and even though he's at 60%, he might just want to play for the sake of playing because he wants to play in every game. He loves the game of basketball. I understand that, but Bulls coaching staff, if it's Billy Donovan or if it's anybody else, whoever it may be, they got to be aware that Lonzo Ball cannot play 82 games going forward. Again, it's something that we got to have to consider. If he's playing back-to-backs every single time out, it's going to be a concern. If he's a guy that's going to be, I guess, trying to play 30, 40 minutes every single night in some big games, that will be a concern. He may not be 100% every single game. Brandon Roy also mentioned that it's okay to feel those types of ways because he is still young and he will still be young. He's not in his 30s. He's not, I guess, at the age where he has to find a different way to train or stuff like that. But maybe this injury will force him to do that. Either way, you know, the Bulls coaching staff, Lonzo himself, they're going to have big responsibilities to come back on managing his health. It is as simple as that. And even if it's with another NBA team, if Lonzo Ball decides to go elsewhere in free agency, or if we decide that we, I guess, waive Lonzo Ball in many ways, we buy out his contract and he joins a different team, whatever it is, they have to be aware that he will most likely not be playing 82 games ever, realistically, in his NBA career. But look, there's always room to be proven wrong, of course. Lonzo Ball has a big task on his hands to prove to everybody that he can be a good quality NBA player with obviously all of these injuries in the past. And he's also going to have a big task to prove that he can stay healthy for the majority of the seasons. But if the NBA teams are not assisting him in that way as well, then again, it's doomed for failure. So the NBA teams, whatever it may be, I'm going to say for the Bulls because he's still a Bulls player, this coaching staff is going to have a lot of responsibility to ensure that we can load manage him and he can stay healthy. It's as simple as that. And let's hope he comes back. Of course, we want Lonzo Ball to come back. Let's hope he hasn't lost a massive step. But again, we got to be realistic as well. Let's hope things just go well in general. And that's the advice that Brandon Roy has given to Lonzo Ball. And therefore, that is the end of this video. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you enjoyed. And again, we all want the best for Lonzo Ball. As a Bulls fan, even the people that probably don't necessarily like Lonzo Ball that much, I think for the general health of the person, the human there, I think people are very, very, I guess, understanding of the whole Lonzo Ball situation, and they want the best for him. Again, I don't think it's good in any way, shape, or form to see a player that had so much upside in terms of his NBA career have his career taken away from him. No one wants to see that. I don't want to see that. I'm sure the Lonzo Ball haters out there probably don't want to see that. So again, we're hoping for the best for Lonzo Ball, but we just need to be realistic as well. You can't just expect him to come back and be the same player as he once was. It will take time if he can even get to that level, and maybe the acceptance of he may never get to that level again has to be a real possibility. And we'll see what happens. Again, it's still a long way away, so we might not be talking about Lonzo Ball for a long time, and I understand that. He's projected to return towards the end of next season, if not in 2 seasons' time. So, you know, it's still a long way away. Let's just hope that we continue to get good news about Lonzo Ball, and we'll see what ends up happening in the long run. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.